Hi, this is Karthik from WpAlgoridm.com. Yes, it's WpAlgoridm with D instead of TH in its spelling. And I make WordPress tutorials for beginners. So if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Let's get into today's video. In this video, I'll show you how to install WordPress locally on your computer. It can be a Mac or a Windows machine. It doesn't matter. As I have Mac, I'll show you how to do that on my Mac. It's the same for Windows, except you have to download .exe file for Windows. So you just go to local by flywheel.com. This is the software that you need to install WordPress locally. I can clearly say that this is one of the most efficient and easiest software to develop WordPress websites locally. So go to local by flywheel.com. I'll leave a link to this in the description. You don't need the pro version. You just click on free download and here it will prompt you to choose your platform. I'll just pick Mac. I'll fill out all the details and I'll just click on get now, and I'll click on get now and the download starts. I'll get back once the download finishes. So locate the place where you've downloaded the file. It's a DMG for Mac and .exe for Windows. So just double click on it and all you need to do is to follow on screen instructions. And remember, on Mac you need to have admin privileges to install software. So make sure you have the credentials or the password for admin. So once I double click on it, it'll open up the pop-up box. It shows something like this. I'll just drag it into my applications list. It's now being copied or moved to my applications. It's about 600 MB. Also make sure you have over a GB space on your hard drive to install this. So once this is done, you can then go back to applications, click on local, and it'll verify and it'll install the rest of the application. So on Mac, you'll have this warning on Mac OS Catalina or something. So you just click on open and it'll start the installation process. It'll then ask you if you want to share your information. You can click on no and you can close this pop-up, and that's it. Your local is now installed. Now we're ready to use our software. Let's create a site. Let's call it WP Freedom. It can be anything. It doesn't have to be a local name. It can be the name of your domain itself. Let's call it WP Freedom. I'll just give it a site name and then I'll hit continue here. Give it a username and password. Since it's a local site, you can give a simple username and password. And remember, when you move it to a live site, which I'll show in another video, you have to change the username and password to something different or difficult so that users won't be able to use brute force attacks to target your website. Anyway, since it's a local site, since only we can access it on computer, we'll just give it a username and password. It's admin. It's also email. You don't have to necessarily give it. Click on add site. It'll install all the components that it requires to run a WordPress site. So your WordPress site generally needs a server and a database. Server for doing all sorts of stuff such as updating the database with all the information. On your Mac, you'll be asked to give your password. I'll type my password here. I'll just click on OK. It'll download the WordPress. It'll download the database and all the required tools. You don't have to get into technical part of it. And it's also quite easy to move it from the local site to your live site, which I'll show in another video. This is free and you can experiment and learn WordPress on local sites, and you can move the same site to your live site. So that's an advantage of having. So now my WordPress is installed and you can click on admin and it will open up the admin page where it will ask us to log in, and just like that we've created our local site. That's it. You just hit your credentials that you just gave. You can click on never. So it just opened up my website. As you can see, it just gave a wpfreedom.local URL. You can also change this URL. Here's our brand new WordPress site. Here you can start experimenting and do all sorts of stuff. Let's actually close this, or I'll just log out from here. I'll minimize this. I'll actually change the site domain to a realistic one. It doesn't have to exist. You can simply give any name and you can then move it to a live site with a different name. Doesn't matter. So I'll just call it wpfreedom.com just to make it a bit more realistic. Again, it'll ask me for my password. I'll type my password and there I have it. And in SSL, you can click on trust to make sure that you don't get your not secure warnings on your local site while you're doing it. On your live site, anyway, you'll be having your SSL certificate either from a host or you can get it free online. Anyway, so I just clicked on trusted. I'll just click on admin again. It will take me to the URL. It's basically wpfreedom.com wp-admin. wp-admin. I'll log in again with my credentials. And there I have it. There I have my brand new website. You can now see that it's wpfreedom.com and I don't have a warning right now since we've clicked on trust certificate in SSL settings. Right? You just click on SSL and click on trust and all that. And there are few utilities for you to handle. And that's pretty much it. This is how you create a WordPress site locally within like 2 minutes, I guess. If you want to create another site, just click on this plus button at the bottom corner. Let me bring it to my viewport. So as you can see that it's showing there is one site running. You can also enable live link, so people with the link can actually see what's on your local site. So you can enable that. If you want to add another site, again give it another name, and in advanced options just change the domain. And there is an option called blueprint. So if you've previously saved a blueprint or basically a set of tools, if you're already working on a site that's pre-configured, you can use blueprint option, or you can simply just choose the option that I showed you. So it's that easy installing WordPress locally, and I think local by flywheels is one of the most efficient solutions. And guess what? On this local site, you can even install and activate Elementor Pro by using the method I've shown you earlier. I'll leave a link to that video. You can basically install many Pro plugins and activate them as well. Even if you don't activate them on your local site, you can test them out before you move them to the live site and then activate it. It's all up to you. Anyway, so this is how you install WordPress locally by flywheel. It's the easiest solution. There is another way of doing it. I'll show you in a later video. That's it for now. Again, if you're new to this channel, this is WpAlgoridm with D in the spelling. Here we make WordPress tutorials for beginners. If you're new to the channel, make sure you give it a thumbs up and also subscribe if you didn't already.